Hello, friends. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about Stardew Valley, which is an absolutely beautiful game that I have been playing on the Nintendo Switch. It's also available on the PS4 and Xbox One and Steam, and I believe it's on physical on PS4 and Xbox One, and digital only on the Switch, and of course Steam. But there are really no issues with that because with many games, the problem with digital games is that they're going to take up space in your inventory, so to say, in your digital cache. I just downloaded Ukulele and it took up a couple of gigs. But this took up less than a gig. It was in megabytes, and it reminded me of how when I bought a Wii U, I bought a used Wii U, and I bought one with more digital space because I was like, well, I'm going to be playing Virtual Console games, I'm going to be playing Nintendo 64 games, and I don't want to run out of space. Well, of course, I went and I downloaded those Virtual Console and 64 games, and they were in the hundreds of megabytes, not gigabytes. So, given that I wasn't really downloading digital games other than that, it was quite a waste. But here, it's an absolutely perfect digital game because you don't have to pop in the cartridge every time you want to play because it's such a simple little pop in, pop out kind of experience. The in-game day lasts maybe an hour or so or more. But I'll get started on explaining what it is for people who haven't had the joy of experiencing it. So the first thing that pops up is when you get to the title screen is you go to a new file, and the first thing that happens is you get to choose your gender, choose your race, your level of feminist or butchness, your name, your farm name, your favorite thing, your preference for having a cat or a dog at some point. I chose cat. This isn't my character. This is just the randomly generated first character in the game. Anyway, so Stardew Valley. It's an indie game by Eric Barome. Came out in 2016. Came to the Nintendo Switch in 2017. It's a life sim, very Harvest Moon inspired. Apparently, I haven't played those games, but Harvest Moon is a huge influence on this one. And what happens, and story spoilers, and it really is better if you have played the game. And it's only $15 on so many platforms, and it's a perfect digital download. So, and for the amount of content that you get, it's just such a huge. And I have issues with the game so far. I'm only a few hours in, but it's quite beautiful and really worth it if you enjoy these kind of games. If you enjoy Animal Crossing, if you enjoy what else? The kind of chiller aspects of Zelda, maybe. And there is combat in the game. I haven't gotten to it yet, but one of the interesting things about the combat is that it is restricted. So in the game, you're moving to this new town. Spoilers ahead. You're moving to this new town because your grandfather, who unfortunately, as the Game Grumps pointed out, looked like Santa Claus. Some of the art assets in this game look great. Some of them look okay. I think for a game made by one person, that's fine. Over the course of 4 years, which is a pretty incredible feat. But anyway, the combat sections apparently are a little bit locked off. You can't get to them immediately. But what you first do is that you're working for this very Amazon-like company called Joja or Jojaba or something. I can't remember. And your grandfather is dying. And as he's on his deathbed, and again, the game prompts pointed out he looks like Santa, which is like just like, it's kind of too bad. It takes you out of the moment. Just the teensiest bit. I still cried like a baby. Like a little bitch. And again, all the music, everything was done by this one guy. Totally incredible. I don't know what he did to support himself over that time or what the development cycle was like exactly. It's something I'd be very interested to know. And so getting back to the point, your grandfather says on his deathbed, there's gonna come a time when you, my granddaughter or grandson, depending on the gender that you choose, for your character in the character creation, and you name your character and all that, there's gonna come a time when modern life feels heavy on you, and it crushes you, and it crushes your soul, and you're kind of want to get away from it. And I'm choking up just talking about it. This is why indie games are so important to me, even with all their flaws. This is something that, you know, you don't see in a game from a big company, because they're not struggling in the same way. You know, I think people at Nintendo or Sony or Xbox or Microsoft, I mean, probably are paid pretty comfortably, and maybe, you know, I wouldn't say, because that's not really fair. But I think there's something special about an indie game that's about struggle, and it was clearly a struggle to make. I mean, one person over the course of 4 years. That's just so incredible. It makes me want to make a game. I think I might. I've made several games. I've made a Twine game, The Haunted Nintendo, which you can get for $1 on my Gumroad page. And I've made a couple of little games in RenP that don't really have any choices. They're just kind of little free stories with visuals and sound. But anyway, so your grandfather dies, and he leaves you this letter, and you open the letter at some point, and I'm going to go to my file, and in Pocket Knife Farm, and this is the loading screen, which gives you a little bit of the controls here. And there's a little bit of long loading and long saving for a digital game, I have to say. I don't really understand how those things work, but it's a little strange. But it's not really that bad. But anyway, turns out that your grandpa has loaned you, trying to get the best visual here, has loaned you this house. And you're gonna get out of bed here, and he's loaned you, or not loaned you, sorry, he's dead. He didn't loan you shit. He can't loan you things, but he's left you this farm, and that turns out to be what was in the letter that he left you, was the deed for this farm, and a note that just about the joy and the love that you can get from being in nature and being around people. Again, I'm talking about this and I want to cry. I've been off my meds, everyone. It's been really cold, and it's been really hard to get my meds. But anyway, hashtag too real. And then you get there, and there's a bunch of things you can do. It's a life simulator game, in the vein of Harvest Moon or Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing being a game that I have extensive playtime with, both with City Folk and a little bit, and but mostly with New Leaf. And I am on absolute pins and needles waiting for some kind of Switch announcement in January. This month. I don't know when it's coming, but the Nintendo Direct should be coming this month, and I'm just waiting patiently for that. But anyway, so you get there, and there's a guy waiting to meet you there. He's in your house, which is a little weird, but maybe your grandpa left the house in care of this guy. But that surprised me. And you're invited to the town. There's all these little objectives that you can do, but the main objective is to farm and to plant crops and to mine for things. One, and then two, to meet and talk to townspeople, to meet and talk to your neighbors, just like in Animal Crossing. Unlike in Animal Crossing, you're an adult, and your neighbors are mostly adults, and a bunch of them are single, and you can flirt with them and be boyfriends or girlfriends with them, no matter what gender you picked. I really recommend the videos by Pro Jared and his friend whose name I'm blanking on, but anyway, the video by Pro Jared, he and the one by his friend, they both talked about wanting to, they're both boys, of course, and they talked about, like, I just wanted to go full gay and just, like, check out all the guys and watch them work out and stuff, and I absolutely loved it. I love it when conceptually straight guys are like, yes, give me all the gay shit. Just because, I don't know, I think that fluidity is cool, and, you know, I don't know how those guys identify it, you know, but, it's really fun to watch. It's really, great that the freedom that this game gives you. Speaking of which, I'm gonna go back to the, exit to title. I'm gonna go back to the character creator and show you some of these options. So, let's see if I can get this to load okay. So, you can be a boy or a girl, first off. This is totally absurd. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. I'm not gonna do this. But, anyway, you can be a boy or a girl. You can choose your skin color, your hair shape, your hair color, your shirt design, your pants color, and I just think that's a really beautiful thing. As like a, you know, a butch trans woman, the idea that I could be this kind of butchy girl with short hair, who the femi girl the femi girl who, by the way, the femi blonde girl, who's kind of the town mean girl, she shows up, and the first thing she says to you is, "Oh, I guess you might be pretty, if not for those terrible clothes." And I just love that. Not someone I'm gonna be dating out of the group of, there's 5 girls you can date and 5 boys, and, I'm not sure if the blue-haired girl at the, tavern, who works at the tavern, is single, but she's really pretty. I think I like her, and I gave her a Coke, which she was like, "Oh, that gift has negative energy," and I was like, "Oh, you don't want a Coke? Sorry." It's not a Coke, it's like a JoJo Cola. It's like the Amazon Cola. It's like the evil corporation. So it makes sense. She's kind of hippie-ish. And then I gave her a flower, and she was like, "Oh, this gift has positive energy. Thank you." And I was like, "Oh, thank you for talking to me." She's really pretty. Also, another cool thing that you can set is that you can set the kind of town that you have. The towns are apparently procedurally generated, I believe. Or perhaps they're the same across different playthroughs, but you can get, I'll read these off. Standard farm, a simple plot of land with a large amount of open space to design your farm. Riverland farm, your farm is spread across several islands and scenic riverbanks. Fish are more common here than usual. Forest farm, which is what I chose after doing a tarot reading about it. The woods limit your farming space. However, the bounty of the forest is nearly at your doorstep. Hilltop farm. Rocky terrain and a winding river make it difficult to design your farm. However, a mineral deposit provides mining opportunities. And then finally, Wilderness Farm. There's plenty of good land here, but beware. At night the monsters come out. So you can design the game, not only design your character, but design what kind of experience you want to have, which is really exciting for multiple playthroughs. Now, I don't know how many multiple playthroughs I'm gonna do, because there are so many things to do. It's like Animal Crossing. You don't really start a new town that often unless you just have a desire to do that kind of thing. Anyway, criticisms of the game. Couple quick criticisms. First off, I'm a little weirded out by this gift giving thing. In games, there seems to be this idea. I saw this is in Dead or Alive, those horrid, over-sexualized beach ball games that the Game Grumps play. But you communicate through talking, which is cool, but you also just give these people presents. As a person who's struggled with, like, gift giving feeling genuine and authentic to myself, like, that just feels like, I don't know. And the fact that they reject some gifts is just like, ow. And I heard that there's a big part in the game where, again, spoilers, where there's a dance, and it's really hard to get people to dance with you, and I'm just like, whoa. So there's some crazy shit in this game. Absolutely. Also, the cast of NPCs are a little bit white. There are some people of color in the cast of NPCs, but non-playable characters, but not very many, which is strange and unsettling. I know, and I'm always surrounded by a large group of white people. I'm like, whoa, what's happening here? That's how I felt like whenever I would go see my I don't talk to my family anymore, but whenever I would go see my dad's side of the family, who was like all white, like horrible, like Christian, like blonde, racist, sexist, I was like, what am I doing here? And now that I don't talk to them anymore, I'm like, I'm so good. I'm so, like, I don't know. Maybe I should get on Facebook and yell at them, but I haven't connected with any of them, and also it would probably cause me a panic attack to talk to any of them, because I'm sure that they're not trans friendly. Anyway, it's supposed to be a video about video games, but again, this is the joy of this stuff. This is I'm running a little bit off script here, but this is the joy of this stuff, is that an indie game, or a game with real heart and soul, which is just a little bit easier to come by in the indie game communities, they're so important because they unlock doors for people. They absolutely open possibilities of not just inclusion, but just like, you know, for me, I mean, I played this game and I was like, I can make a game? Shit! Go to the sorting.at website, and this is a little coda. You probably know this, but if anybody's looking to make a game, there is a great great resource that you should visit called Sorting Hat, and by Zoe Quinn, and it's sortingh.at. That's the website address, and it will give you this huge list of things that you can do, programs you can find, assets you can find, all these tools for aspiring game devs, of which I am one among the other things that I do. Mostly being comics and essays and stuff. I got so off topic. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. And I'm gonna sign off the way I always do on these videos, which is I hope you share some video games and some fun with some friends today. Oh, and by the way, developers, please bring the co-op to the Nintendo Switch. I would die 1,000 deaths. Oh my god. I would be so happy. Okay. Bye.